All right, and we're live. All right, well, welcome everybody to today's October Board of Waterworks Trustees meeting. I'm going to be chairing in place of Andrea, who is here, will be online. And Diane is out today, correct?
Correct.
And Diane, so we got 4 or 5 with quorum, so we are ready to go. We're going to start with our consent agenda, which includes the minutes from the September 23rd, 2005 Board of Waterworks Trustees meeting, the minutes from the October 7th, 2025 Finance and Audit Committee meeting, our list of financial statements, list of payments for September 2025, summary of CEO approved expenditures in excess of 50,000, and our next meeting date of November 25 of 2025. I get a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Can we ask, in the last several meetings, we have provided a brief financial summary
Oh,
and
yeah, I
update.
apologize.
That's all right.
Okay.
So I'd like to invite Kelly to just give us a brief highlight of the financials.
All right, so water revenue was nearly on target for September at 5.4 million. Year-to-date water revenue still remains about 2.8 below budget. Total operating revenues to the end of September are 47.3 million. Year-to-date operating expenses are 44.3 million, with 23.7 of those expenses being reimbursed by Central Iowa Waterworks. September activity yielded an increase to our net earnings of just over 1 million. In September, I just want to draw your attention, we made a payment to 7.3 million to Central Iowa Waterworks for capital projects related to 2024 that was outlined in our 28E agreement. So with that payment, that brings our total cash and invested cash just under 60 million at the end of September.
Thank you very much. Anything else? Otherwise, we have a motion in a second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Can we get into the vote?
Yeah, add mine as a yay.
Thanks, Andrea. All right, so next we will move on to our public comment period. I will make a quick note because we are also talking about the rates today. We do have a separate agenda item and public comment period for that. So if you wish to speak about that, we just ask that you wait until that period. And this would be for any other items for members of the public, either in the room or online. If you wish to speak, now would be the time. Now? If you want to come up to the podium, if you want to speak about anything other than the rates decision, we'll have another period for that. If your comment is about.
Are you speaking about rates, sir?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, we have a separate agenda.
There'll be yeah. So this is for anything else related, or anything else besides that, sorry.
I hadn't thought of anything else.
Okay.
Sit down.
Well, not seeing anyone else, we'll move on, and that one will become, the rate conversation will come up just shortly. We will now move on to our action items. And we will start with agenda item A, receive and file the 2026 cost of service report.
I'll give a brief overview. Des Moines Waterworks for many years has developed an annual cost of service report that is in most recent years forward-looking. So we take the next year's budget, which in this case would be 2026 budget, and we allocate it among our different customer classes based on appropriate cost drivers. And that analysis forms the basis of our rate recommendations. Our objective, of course, is to ensure that our rates are equitable and fair and fully recover the cost of service. And so this cost of service model does exactly that. It was developed by a financial consultant, Raftellus, who is nationally recognized, and they literally wrote the industry manual, referred to as the M1 manual through American Waterworks Association, for cost of service studies. So we were in good hands with that model. And so this agenda item is requesting that the board receive and file the study. I will draw your attention to the memo that accompanies the board yellow or the board memo. There is a figure 14 on the second page of the memo. And I think this does a really nice job of summarizing the cost of service results by those customer classes. So we have several customer classes, Des Moines retail. Of course, we have several full service or total service customers. These are small communities who have approached Des Moines Waterworks and said, we'd like you to operate our system for us. And so we treat them really just as a neighborhood of Des Moines. And we track their costs and their revenues and compare those both sides of the equation. We also have wholesale customers, purchase capacity, and we have a wholesale with storage class as well. Our wholesale purchase capacity class prior to Central Iowa Waterworks used to be about 12 wholesale members, and most of our wholesale customers joined the regional utility, Central Iowa Waterworks. Altoona and Bondurant chose not to join, and so we continue to serve them as wholesale purchase capacity customers. The cost of service recovery is noted in that figure, and our goal is to be as close as possible to 100%. You can see that there are some that are slightly lower than 100%, but over 95%. We consider those, for all practical purposes, nearly fully recovering costs. So our recommendation today is to receive and file the 2026 cost of service study.
All right, so could I get a motion to receive and file the 2026 cost of service study?
So moved.
Second.
You can take David's second. I have a quick question. Sorry if you said this, but how often are you doing these studies? Is it annually?
Annually.
Okay.
Yes.
And has the same provider been doing it?
Our internal staff actually does the study
Okay.
using the budget, but the Ref Telus helped us set up the model
Okay.
that we use.
So you run it through their.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. We take all the data from the budget, usage data and projections, and we follow the same model.
Okay. Thanks.
So remind me, because since we do this every year, it seems like last year we were kind of going through and talking about how we have a rule that we can't subsidize other communities' cost of service. Am I speaking on the same topic here or subject here? And we're still trying to get those rates and percentages equal to where one community is not paying, or one and group of customers is not paying a higher percentage of cost of recovery than another?
That's right. Our contracts that we have with communities spell out that each community or each customer group or class must recover its costs, and one group is to not subsidize another.
You said that so much better than I did in much fewer words. Thank you. So this is still on the track of making sure that we are living to that contract expectation.
That's right. I will call out, because it stands out a little, Alleman is at 117% of cost of service recovery. That is programmed or intentional. We are trying to build up their capital fund so that they have funding for future investments as they grow. And we just met with them this morning. And one thing that's important to note is when we are over recovering over 100%, any amount that is not expended through operations or capital, we are tracking that in a capital improvement fund. And then that fund remains available for them in future years for investments in their system. So they are not just paying extra and then losing that. They will receive the benefit of that in the future.
Anything else? Otherwise, take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, so we move on to item B, agenda item B, approval of proposed resolution adopting the 2026 water rates. And as mentioned earlier, this is a public hearing. So I'm gonna try and do this from the cheat sheet and follow the correct order of operations here. So I will now open the public hearing for comment for the public concerning the proposed rates or budgets. If members of the public are in attendance, please provide, oh, sorry, that's for me. For members of the public, please make your comments from the podium if you are in the room. Are we gonna do in the room and then find out?
Yeah, I think that would be
So we'll
good.
start with anyone in the room and then we'll move to anybody online. So if you're in the room, please address from the podium. State your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 to 5 minutes to make your comments. So if you'd like to speak, now would be the time to come up.
Okay. Your turn first. Wanna go first? We have questions or as comments? Give the chair, the chair's discretion as to how the public hearing is conducted, but typically this is a opportunity for members of the public to express their viewpoints about certain matters during to them.
I would say feel free to ask, if you ask questions, and then
Yeah.
if we get to a discussion point later, that we can try to address those.
So what all do you want me to state to?
Your name and address.
Jacob Hokinson, 3944 East 8th Street. My biggest question and everything and problem is the irrigation use one. What all that classify, where do golf courses stand under that? And then also, if you purchase a hydrant meter for use for irrigation, is that also going to be, could you guys have it under there for the additional $10.70 or whatever for the additional fee? If you purchase a hydrant meter to purchase irrigation water, will that fee apply to that? Do you guys know?
The hydrant meters, if it's used for irrigation, the intent would be that that would be at the irrigation rate of $10.70. Would be at the inside city Des Moines rate. Hydrant meters are on the Des Moines inside city rate.
Okay, and then what is classified as inside Des Moines and what is classified as Polk County?
Related to hydrant meters, those are all billed at the Des Moines inside city rate structure. If it's a permanent structure, you know, a home or a business in unincorporated Polk County, those would be at the
Cause it was like $20.
county rates.
Yeah, gotcha. So we are still, we have a hydrant meter. We purchase X amount of water. We are still subject to the additional $10 fee since we're using it for irrigation.
It's not an additional $10 fee. It is $10, whatever that rate is, $10.70
Yeah.
for all water that goes through that meter.
Oh, so that's the total
That's
cost
the
of just
total.
that. So you're not buying water plus an additional.
That's right.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's kind of nice. That's all I got, I guess. That's my questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, am I hearing okay from this distance?
Yeah.
Really gotta project here. My name is Chris Hodge. I'm at 2907 Southeast Fifth Street. Just down the way a bit. And I wanted to go on record by saying that there are a couple things I would love to see from the water company. I'd love it if we could see some, I guess for lack of a better term, innovations that can actually lower the rates as opposed to maintaining or increasing them. I'd love to see some kind of like a public efficiency dashboard as far as total spending, loss percentages, and cost per, say, 1,000 gallons. Additionally, it would be great if it's not already the case. I wasn't able to find information about whether management bonuses are actually tied to rate stability or reduction, but if not, I'd love it if it were so. And if so, I'd love if it were easy to find. Let's see, oh, and while I'm composing a wish list, it'd be really cool if the water company could commit to a long-term, say a 5 to 10 year period of actually reducing rates through achieving particular efficiency targets. If that makes any sense? Too many qualifiers, but overall not terrible. That's all I got.
Anyone else in the room that would like to speak? All right, seeing none, if anyone online would like to speak. Are you unmuting them, Caitlin, or how's this? Them raise their hand, is that the?
Looks like, yes, Marquita.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, is she unmuted?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Marqueta, and please state your address as well.
Sure. My name is Marquita Oliver. I'm with the City of Bondurant, 200 2nd Street Northeast, Bondurant, Iowa. And I just wanted to note that, Bondurant continues to work with Des Moines Waterworks staff regarding the water rates. As part of this review, the city's been working to better understand the components included in the fixed cost charge. In particular, the city has raised questions regarding the inclusion of certain capital costs for assets that are being depreciated, which appear to be incorporated within the fixed cost category. And the 2026 cost of service is estimated at 1.24 million. But a cursory review of the cost of service study shows our revenues would total 1.26 million, which would be 101% cost recovery, which was different than what the slide was shown earlier on not TV, but on the screen. So I'm not sure exactly which one is right, and we have only had it about 5 days to look at. So, this level of cost recovery demonstrates our ongoing commitment to supporting system operations and infrastructure. It also raises a few concerns. Specifically, the city's concerned that the current rate structure results in Bondurant contributing toward capital costs in a manner that may be inconsistent with the provisions of the master service agreement. So we appreciate the efforts of Des Moines Waterworks staff in compiling information and responding to our questions. And we value that collaborative working relationship and look forward to continuing those discussions to resolve those concerns and ensure a fair cost allocation that aligns with the intent of the master services agreement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fine, it's still.
Okay, are you able to see if there's anyone else wishing to speak then?
It doesn't show anybody else. You do have a few that just came.
Yep. If for anyone who just walked in, if you were looking to make any public comment about the rates, this would be the time. You can come up to the podium. If not, I will make one last call for any other public comments. Otherwise, we will move on.
We did receive
Oh, yeah.
some written comments. We received about a dozen written comments prior to today. And I've provided those for the board members, and I won't read them, but they will be entered into the record. And I would offer some themes from those 12 comments. Statements related to Des Moines Waterworks should hold polluters and high consumption corporations accountable for increasing costs. And high consumption corporations, some examples that were given were data centers or other large industrial users. Rate increases should be no more than the rate of inflation. Rate increases have a negative impact on households with lower or fixed incomes, especially when coupled with rate increases from other service providers. Lastly, 3 Runnels city council members provided comment that they have recently constructed a new wastewater treatment facility in Runnels, which has burdened their community with costs, and additional rate increases are difficult.
Amy, do we have a process for following up with folks that submitted comments?
We do. We have not followed up as of now pending this public hearing, but it would be our intent to follow up with each of these comments and provide more information.
Okay.
And context. I will share that, I don't know if this is the appropriate time to provide more information. I might wait until after the public hearing is over.
Okay. Well, I think we've had an opportunity to hear all our public comments, both oral and written. So at this point, I will seek a motion to close the public hearing.
You can just close it.
Oh, I just motioned to close it?
No, the public hearing.
So I should have stuck with this one. All right, I will close the public hearing then. And I will seek a motion to approve and adopt the proposed rates by roll call vote on the attached resolutions.
So moved.
Second.
All right.
I can provide more
Yeah, let's do
information.
that now.
Okay.
I'm working through it.
We're getting through
You're doing
it.
great.
We're doing good. So the proposed 2026 water rates were discussed, of course, at the October Finance and Audit Committee. And there is information in your packet. Of course, these are based on the cost of service study that was just received and filed in the prior board action. I would offer that there are 3 primary rate changes. The first one is an increase to fixed monthly availability fees. Our rate structure has 2 components. The first of those is a fixed monthly availability fee that varies based on meter size. And so these availability fees are intended to recover costs, fixed costs that are readiness to serve. We have costs that don't matter how much a customer uses in water. For example, the meter is at the customer's residence or business, regardless if they use water. The reading device, we offer customer service, we stand by ready to assist, we send bills, and even some of the infrastructure is available. 75% of our costs are actually fixed, which means it doesn't matter if how much water is used, we still incur those costs to maintain the system. And so these fixed monthly availability fees, we are proposing for a typical residential customer, based on that meter size, a $1 increase a month from $6 to $7. And we're also proposing that we standardize those fees across all service areas so that it's unnecessarily complicated, I think, right now. We have also changed such that higher sizes or larger sizes of water meters will increase more. So these would be meters, 4-inch, 6-inch, 8, 10, 12 that serve very large customers, and a larger amount of flow goes through those. And so fixed costs are greater. We are proposing that we adopt a widely used approach or methodology in the water industry that looks at an AWWA flow equivalency and escalates the flow based on the meter size. And that results in some pretty significant increases for those larger meters that I want to call out. We previously maxed out the availability fee at $75, and a 4-inch would go in 2026 from $75 to $87.50, with the intent to get it up to its full recovery next year at $175. So we're proposing a 2-year phased-in approach to get these availabilities to where they should be. A 6-inch, as an example, would go from $75 to $175 in 2026, and so on. So that is one of the changes. Another change is the revised volume rates based on the cost of service study. We are recommending a 7% increase in volume rates for most customers, but based on those cost of service results that we just looked at, in areas that are recovering less than 90% of costs, we are recommending a 10% rate increase. And the intent is to get them to full recovery. And the third change is a new irrigation rate for commercial and industrial customers. Currently, we did this last year for residential customers. We implemented an inclining rate structure, which means that a residential customer last year who waters outside is paying a higher rate for that lawn watering. And the reason for that is because in order for Des Moines Water Works to meet that maximum day demand on hot summer days, we need to build our system out to meet those highest demand days. And we don't get to use that capacity all year long. And so we can only recover the costs of that infrastructure and to maintain it over a short period of time. Sometimes that is over just several days as that infrastructure is being used. And so the cost per unit, the cost per 1,000 gallons is greater for those peak days. And so we have, in a prior year, realigned our residential rate structure for that fact. And this year, we are proposing that same methodology or philosophy for irrigation that is used by commercial and industrial customers. So all customer classes would be equitable in how that lawn watering is approached. The Des Moines Inside City commercial and industrial irrigation rate would be proposed at $10.70. And then each service area, total service customers would have its own irrigation rate that would be based on what their typical uniform rate is for commercial. Otherwise, there is no proposed rate structure change to commercial and industrial rates for 2026. Happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Amy. Any comments or questions from the board?
So I'm just trying to make sure that I understand the inclining and declining situation when it comes to the business, commercial, industrial users. So where we moved the system for residentials in that inclining block, so there's a cost break in our residential customers being more efficient, using water more conservatively. They end up paying less as opposed to getting that price break if they use more. And then for our commercial and industrial users, they're still on that declining rate for water usage within their facilities, but they only get kind of subject to that irrigation or that higher cost through irrigation. And what we're metering and capturing in irrigation, they are charged more to recoup that cost. Am I capturing that clearly?
Yes, just to clarify, the residential rate structure change that we made for 2025, so a year ago, for 2025, that residential rate structure, the more a residential customer uses, the more they pay per 1,000 gallons as the blocks increase. And in terms of a commercial and industrial customer, so think of a large processing plant that uses consistent or stable volumes throughout the year. That is actually of benefit to a water utility because it gives us baseline usage. The more volume that we have, as I said, our costs are fixed, most costs are fixed. And so we can spread those costs over more gallons. And so there are economies of scale to a commercial or industrial customer, again, who uses their water, who demands their water pretty consistently throughout the year. Where it's inefficient or where it costs more is in the outside watering related to the peak. And so for 2026, we are recommending that the processing rate remain on a declining structure, because there is a cost of service basis for that, but that those commercial and industrial customers do pay that higher irrigation rate that a residential customer would pay for any outside water usage. We could look at commercial and industrial customer rate structures in a future year to maybe remove a tier or widen the tiers. You know, we can talk about some changes that we could do to encourage innovation and efficiency and conservation from commercial and industrial customers. But we are not recommending that for this year, for 2026.
Okay. I think it would be great if we could look at in future years how we can how we can kind of address and encourage those innovations in our commercial and industrial rates, just from the standpoint of we all should be doing better as far as our water usage, and thinking about how we can help to encourage the commercial and industrial users to be doing the same. I can't see people's faces close if somebody else is about to say something.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Andrea. I have a question.
Well, my next question is, because I was unable to attend the finance meeting, but reading through the notes, do I understand that we are, because of our projected budget for next year, and understanding the income that we're projecting, that we had to dip into our reserves in order to make up the difference between our projected income through rates and such, and what our actual expenses were going to be?
Andrea, we are proposing to use the asset transfer funds that we will receive as a result of the formation of Central Iowa Water Works. We have some programmed infusions of that funding into our capital program. And so you're correct. We would not be able to sustain the level of capital that we are proposing just based on Des Moines water rates. And so we are proposing to use over a 10-year period on a declining ramp. So this year, or 2026, is the proposed amount would be the maximum amount that we would propose for a year based on what we've outlined. And then each year we would decrease that by $1 million, $1.5 million, somewhere in there. At the same time, rates should be able to, at the end of the 10-year period, sustain a comparable level of capital spending. So the capital programming infusion, if you will, would go down at the same time that rates may notch up. So
again, just making sure that I understand, we in effort to do better. I mean, we've been we, Central Iowa Water Works, and the water utilities have been hit with several different challenges, and a lot of those became very public over this past summer. But in order to address what many think is, we just need to prepare ourselves more, or build more, or be able to do better. We don't actually have the funding to do that at our rates income. That only that in order to be innovative and take on more opportunity to be able to deliver water efficiently, effectively, and in the in the best practice, we are going to have to use the funding that is not from our rates to catch us up. And so hopefully by doing that, we'll eventually even ourselves out, we'll become efficient, we'll become better by the time, and we'll have the infrastructure in place by the time everything kind of settles out.
I would add that, some of the challenges that I think you're referring to are water quality related, treatment related. Central Iowa Water Works will bear those costs, and we will pay for our share of those costs through our purchased water line item. Yeah, we haven't gotten to the budget, but our proposed purchased water for 2026 is increasing 10%. And while that sounds like a lot, I think it's important to note that 40% of the purchased water is actually for capital reinvestment related to treatment. And although it shows up on our income statement as operating, there is a significant portion of that purchased water that is capital related. So it is, renewing the regional system, and we will pay our share of that through purchased water. Des Moines capital, our focus is on primarily replacing water mains that are aging, that are breaking, and we believe we can be more efficient and reduce customer inconvenience and frustration, employee satisfaction, if we have fewer breaks. And so the answer to that is to replace some of those aging and undersized mains.
Sure, that in any type of water loss in that effort.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So I hope that answers your question. Did I get to what your comment was?
Yes, it does. It helps. Okay. David, I'll turn it over to you for now.
Okay. On the capital reserve, could you just talk through why the 13.5 is the right number for 2026 and what that might mean for any sort of forecast and average rate increases moving forward?
Yes. There is no right or wrong amount to select to put into this budget. But what I did was, in proposing the 10-year programming of using those funds, is I knew that, I think I should say, that it would be best if we start at a higher level and decline those amounts over time so that we become less reliant on that capital reserve fund, while still maintaining a comparable level of capital spending. And at the same time, the rates will are projected to increase. And the average rate increase that is used in the analysis is 7% in the earlier years, 5% in the later years. So I'm just going to say 5 to 7%. I do believe that we will continue to see rate pressures. We certainly do look at efficiencies that we can implement. How can we be more innovative? We are doing a lot with, how can we conserve? How can we participate in the Central Iowa Water Works water usage best practices? How can we educate customers to use less water or to use water wisely? But because we do have capacity needs, we have an aging system, both from a treatment perspective through Central Iowa Water Works and also through a distribution perspective. There are rate pressures, and I think it is going to be critical that we are responsible and be good stewards of the system. Some utilities do not plan for capital renewals and replacements. They don't collect a depreciation component in the rates. And I think that while that provides lower water rates, I would argue it's not necessarily responsible for the long-term health of a water system. And so we really do try to balance affordability of water rates and maintaining a strong system. In 2023, we procured an affordability study from Raftellus. And it was a comprehensive study. That report is available on our website. And while we understand and acknowledge that there are families who struggle to make ends meet, and we work with those customers when they call us, the study showed that generally our rates are affordable and we do not have an affordability problem with our water rates. And so we will continue to keep a close eye on that. That's very important to me. So it's really a balancing.
I guess to put a little finer point on that question, if we were to spend more than the 13.5 in the early years, would you forecast that would lower those increases over time?
I think potentially it depends on what costs do in the future. It is hard to project costs 10 years from now, both operating and capital. Things come up. Really, the point that where we landed on and we're able to make this budget balance with the 13 million infusion from that capital reserve, is that we have limitations in our internal capacity to complete work with the staff that we have. And so if the option were explored to have invested a lot more, my fear is that we wouldn't be able to complete all the work.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments? Otherwise, thank you, staff, for putting this together. Appreciate all the public comments. We said you love raising the rates, but for cost and investment to keep the system functioning and growing, given all sorts of challenges, including quality water, where we have done a good job trying to make this as reasonable as possible. So, yeah.
We do also do rate analysis and benchmark with other water rates, and we continue to be below the state median water rate. And so that's something that we track, and it's a place that I really look for us to be sure that we are below that state median, and we continue to be. So I thought I would mention that as well.
Thank you, Amy. All right, well, I think we are ready to move on. We have more.
We have a motion.
Yep, so roll call vote.
Ms. Golden,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Gross,
Yes.
Ms. Kessinger. Yes.
Thank you very much. We will move on to agenda item 3, 2026 corporate insurance.
Okay, this is a perennial agenda item that comes up every year at this time. We have corporate insurance in various lines that are shown here on the board memo. Our insurance policies renew or bind on November 1st. It's a bit of an off-cycle date, but it's just in a few days. And we did get favorable renewal quotes, which I think speaks to the work that we have done in our safety program and in other lines. Our overall increase is 4%, which is comparable to the market. In prior years, you might recall, we have had experience that has resulted in increases greater than the market. It is a tough insurance market, and it continues to be. So we are proposing or recommending a renewal of across insurance lines of $1,430,321. I would also like to say that Assured Partners is our insurance broker. They work very hard for us to make sure that we get the most competitive rates, and they go back and forth with the providers quite a bit. We have 1.7 million budgeted for insurance, and the remaining amounts will be left in the budget to cover other losses like casualty losses or claims related to damages, maybe as a main break or workers' comp. About 600,000 of that 1.7 million that is budgeted would be allocated to Central Iowa Water Works in operational costs. But we are recommending in this motion to accept this insurance renewal program submitted by Assured Partners not to exceed $1,430,321.
All right. I have a motion to accept the insurance renewal program submitted by Assured Partners not to exceed $1,430,321.
So moved.
Second.
That's in line with what you thought, probably, Kelly, right? You talked about this at the finance meeting. Yeah.
Any other questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Right. Let's move on to item D, the proposed 2026 budget to establish a public hearing at the date of the November 2025 board meeting.
Yes, to be clear, this is not approving the budget, this action tonight. We are just setting the date of the public hearing, and then we will ask for approval at the November meeting. But we do have materials in the packet that give an overview and actually quite a bit of detail of the 2026 proposed budget. The budget for 2026 is based on total operating revenue of $71.8 million. As we just spoke about, there's an additional $13.5 million of capital investment funds that are proposed to be infused into that budget. And that is coming from the formation of Central Iowa Water Works. That 13.5 is dedicated to capital reinvestment. The proposed operating budget totals $64.4 million, which is an increase of $2.3 million or 3.7% over the approved 2025 budget. Nearly 1.8 million of that increase is from increased labor and benefit costs. Des Moines Water Works will produce water for Central Iowa Water Works under the terms of our operating contract, and we are reimbursed the full costs of production expenses incurred. Those are projected to be $34.8 million. And then we also receive an additional $712,000 under a separate grounds easement that is considered revenue. Des Moines Water Works will purchase water from Central Iowa Water Works and resell it to our direct retail customers. The cost of purchased water is projected to be $31.8 million, which is about half of our operating costs. Capital expenditures budgeted for 2026 total $79.1 million. Nearly $52.4 million of the capital budget is related to regional production, joint and expansion projects that will be reimbursed by CIWW, leaving a net capital for Des Moines Water Works retail customers to cover in rates of $24.6 million. There's a $3 million budget to finish construction of our aquifer storage and recovery well at the Polk County Pump Station. This project is being funded by a state revolving fund loan. We will have debt service for that, however, along with lead service lines. The materials were discussed at the Finance and Audit Committee meeting on October 7th.
All right. I have a motion to establish the date of the public hearing at the date of the November 2025 board meeting and to act on the approval of the 2026 budget and direct staff to publish notice as set forth in the board policy manual.
So moved. Second.
Any other questions or comments?
Because this is a public hearing, does the budget go out in an email to everyone for approval? No.
This is to set the date of the public hearing.
Okay.
We are required to provide copies of the
Publish
budget
it.
to the library
Okay.
and have it available here.
Okay. If
So it's
someone
available
wanted
to
to look at
public.
it. Okay. I appreciated the email about water rates. I know that came up in our last meeting. So just curious how this one is handled. Thank you.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 We'll move on to item E, audit services.
A lot of financial stuff tonight.
Fun couple months.
This agenda item is for audit services. We've been utilizing RSM for our audit for about 15 years. And the last time that we submitted or put out an RFP was for the 2016 audit. So we are approaching several years since our last RFP was completed. So we thought that it was time to at least put out a request for a proposal. And the finance team has completed that process. In September, the finance team issued the RFP and they sent it to 8 nationally recognized firms, which are listed there. And the selection of firms invited to submit proposals focused on size, national presence, experience in municipal utility audits, single audit experience, which is an audit when you receive federal funding. There are certain compliance tests and so forth. So we would want someone that is able to perform those and also has a local presence within Iowa. Des Moines Waterworks received proposals from 4 firms, RSM, which is our current auditor, Orbis, Mazars or Mazars? Mazars. Eide Bailey and Clifton Larson Allen. All firms demonstrated strong technical competence, public sector experience, and audit methodology. So the team reviewed all of the proposals based on the firm qualifications, firm experience, audit approach, customer service philosophy, and fees. Following that evaluation, Eide Bailey was determined to provide the best overall value to Des Moines Waterworks. They have the most experience with utility audits, particularly within Iowa. And their fees were also the lowest among the respondents, with a quoted cost of $70,000 for the 2025 audit and modest increases after that. So based on this review, staff recommends appointing Eide Bailey as the audit firm for Des Moines Waterworks and the Des Moines Waterworks pension plan for fiscal years 2025 through 2029. I would also add that the city of Des Moines uses Eide Bailey, has recently changed to Eide Bailey. West Des Moines Waterworks uses them. Several other Central Iowa Waterworks members, as well as Central Iowa Waterworks, currently Eide Bailey is their auditor as well. So the reason that that's important, I think, is that there are efficiencies in their understanding of the regional model and framework. And I think that they'll bring just a new perspective, fresh eyes.
Right. Looking for a motion to adopt Eide Bailey LLP as the audit firm for Des Moines Waterworks and the Des Moines Waterworks pension plan for fiscal years 2025 through 2029.
So moved.
Second.
We worried about any loss of institutional knowledge with the transition to a new firm after 15 years?
Audit transitions are pretty typical and customary. The firms have professional courtesy, and so Eide Bailey, I imagine this is how it was when I was in the business, will request that they review work papers, and those 2 auditors will collaborate at least to some extent to pass some information or prior work papers on. And then we, of course, have our narratives and so forth. The first year, there will be more questions and more time spent, but I think actually that it can be healthy to change approach occasionally.
And then how does the 70,000 compare to our 2024 audit?
It is $20,000 to $30,000 less,
That's good.
which is positive.
That's good. Do we know offhand what the increase was for each year in the contract?
5%, or did it?
Yeah, it was very, I think,
It's
it was less than, I think around $5,000. It was very minimal.
Seeing no other questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Right. Very much. We will move on to item F, public hearing for Metronet Systems LLC communication easement at the Des Moines Waterworks Fluor Drive campus.
Thank you. This is a public hearing.
Oh, so I will now. That's one of my cheat sheets. Alright, I will open. I will open the public hearing for comments from the public regarding the granting of a communication easement to Metronet Systems LLC across Waterworks Real Estate. So if there's any members of the public in the room that would like to speak regarding this item, please come up to the podium at this time. And if there's otherwise anyone online that would like to speak, please raise your hand. Seeing none, do we have any written comments, Amy?
We have no written or oral comments.
This time, we will close the public hearing then. And I will seek a motion to authorize the CEO and general manager to execute the easement document granting a permanent communication easement to Metronet Systems LLC at the Des Moines Waterworks Fluor Drive campus once all terms and conditions are suitably met by Des Moines Waterworks staff and legal counsel.
So moved.
Second.
I'll review.
Yep, let's do it.
The action. Metronet is installing underground fiber in the vicinity of the Fluor Drive campus. And they've requested a permanent communication easement across Des Moines Waterworks property to accommodate their facilities underground. The easement area is approximately 0.7 acres, 0.696 acres, or 30,303 square feet. And that is described in the easement document attached to your materials. The project includes installation of an underground fiber optic line, and it will allow Metronet to do the work that they need for their purposes. Easement terms and conditions are being reviewed by staff and legal counsel to ensure operational and property requirements are met and that the installations will not interfere with our existing or planned facilities. So our recommendation is to authorize the CEO and general manager to execute this easement.
Right. Any other comments or questions?
About the easement?
Well,
Don't
Yeah.
typically take questions outside.
yeah,
of
it's from the,
hearing.
for the board at this time.
This is not the first easement that has been granted for fiber optic cable to be laid. It is a part of a process that we have to vote on for approval for safety. Why else? We could maybe
Because it
explain that.
involves real estate.
The Iowa
estate.
code requires any conveyance of real estate, even by lease for more than 3 years to be approved by the board.
Yeah.
So.
And other firms have laid cable that we've given granted easements to. Metronet's probably done this before, actually.
If we think of the past board agenda items, I think we'd be hard pressed to find
Find
an
one that
agenda that did
haven't.
not have on it.
Yeah.
Fiber is being laid
Everywhere.
everywhere, so.
Is this the same one where they started without our permission and then we had
Kyle says yes.
to?
Good thing they're asking for it then. And so like, and even in our neighborhoods where there's cable being laid, they don't ask for easements because it's not Waterworks property, but they are communicating with you often as a utility, yes, and for water mains and other.
We would, they would have to mark their
Yeah.
facilities.
They're in charge of that, or
Correct,
a third
marking their
party
own
is, yeah,
facilities.
yeah, okay.
I think they're often in the right of way.
This one was unique with the confusion of there is not public right of way. On Fluor Drive, there's a roadway easement instead of public right of way. And that was strategically done many years ago because all the infrastructure that we have in the area. And so because there is no public right of way, we have to issue an easement for them to install the fiber along the roadway where they normally would not have to do that.
Yeah, they thought they were doing it the normal way. and they-
Yes.
They found out that they were not. Now we're taking
Now we're getting
appropriate
within the law.
steps, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. We can vote now.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Let's see, we'll move on to item G, request authorization for CEO and general manager to execute change order number 2. The 2024 PCPS for storage and recovery well bid package on well construction.
Okay. This, of course, is the aquifer storage and recovery well currently under construction, our ASR well. We've spoken about it in meetings past. This is one of the projects that we are funding through the state revolving fund in 2026. And it had 2 different phases. The first one was the actual drilling of the well. That is now complete. And then we are in the current phase of constructing the well house. The bid package for constructing the well or drilling the well, at the May 2024 meeting, the board awarded that contract to Lane Christensen Company in the amount of $5,092,345. You might recall during April, May, and July, it was the drilling encountered some difficulties. And these underground facilities can be difficult to know the types of conditions that you're going to come across because it is underground. And so as the contractor drilled, they were met with some unexpected formation fractures in the Jordan Aquifer, so crevices and so forth, that caused a significant loss of that drilling fluids circulation. And there were additional costs that resulted as a result of that additional work outside the contract scope. So Lane had to implement pretty substantial emergency stabilization measures. And once you start drilling, you really need to stay on task in order to, not have it collapse, which it did partially collapse, you might recall from the previous meeting. And then there's also standby charges. The work stops. So the board memo talks about or lists some of the ways that the contractor mitigated the loss of that circulation, mixing bentonite gel and NCL to restore circulation, performing multiple grouting operations to seal those lost circulation zones. They conducted wireline electronic logging to try to locate and evaluate as they were going and drilling those affected zones. Re-drilling, re-grouting, reestablishing stability, and performing additional cement bond log operations, and then re-drilling to clear that grout intrusion. At the May board meeting, the board reaffirmed an emergency authorization in the amount of $655,978. After that authorization, the contractor continued to experience difficulties, and we encountered or incurred additional costs related to that well drilling. So the contractor has issued change order number 2 in the amount of $1,366,592.50. And I want to be really clear here that that amount includes the $655,000. It's not an additional $1.4 million plus the $655,000. We hadn't done an official change order. We just affirmed that emergency authorization. Lindsay and her team have worked with the contractor and the engineering consultant to make sure that these costs are appropriate and were necessary and are reasonable. And they have satisfied themselves that while this was an unfortunate occurrence or incidence, that that it is appropriate, that the work was necessary due to those changing conditions that were unable to be predicted prior to work beginning. So we are recommending the motion to approve change order number 2 to Lane Christensen in the amount of $1,366,592.50 for the 2024 Polk County Pump Station Aquifer Storage and Recovery Well bid package number 1.
All right, with that, I will seek a motion to approve change order number 2 to Lane Christensen Company in the amount of $1,366,592.50 for the 2024 PCPS Aquifer Storage and Recovery Well Bid Package 1 project, and authorize the chairperson and CEO and general manager to execute the change order.
So moved.
Second. Lindsay, was there anything when the contractor first came to you, was there anything that you pushed back on that got us to this final number?
We definitely reviewed all the different things, so we asked for invoices, they had some taxes on things that we shouldn't have. We just questioned all of that, and so they had to get all their paperwork. That's why you see it was less, and then it went up more than that, and then it went back down. So we did go through, and we had Strand. So Strand is here, they're the engineer. They helped assist us with doing all of that to make sure the costs were in order. Yeah, so there was a thorough review of that.
And then I remember the contingency on this being in the ballpark of $1 million. So is that correct? And what was our funding source above the contingency?
Yeah. So Amy and I have talked about the funding, and while we're pushing up to the limit of contingency with the changes that we've had on the contract with like the amendment with engineering agreement and then the change orders, and we still have bid package 2 in construction, but we have identified some funding that we'll be able to utilize to make up for that on other project.
Cash fund.
Yeah, not on the loan. So it won't be an additional loan. The loan will be what was approved, and we'll just subsidize the costs over and above that with other project funds.
The contingency, as I recall, was 1.2 million. And so this, is slightly above that, and we're just keeping our fingers crossed that this next bid package goes well and we won't need any.
But yeah, we'll be watching the costs close.
It's an important project for us. Aquifer storage and recovery is a very efficient way to store water so that we can kind of manage our peak demand in the summer, because we inject treated water during our non-peak season during the winter, and then we recover it in peak season. And so it's a way for Des Moines Water Works to manage our peak demand and lessen the amount of treatment capacity that we have to invest in. It's a very cost-efficient way, even with these conditions, it's a very cost-efficient way to have additional capacity or storage.
As some of the experiences during the drilling process on this well affected our plan around any future well locations at this point?
I don't know that we have planned any future ASR wells, or if we have anything that we could learn from that. I would look to the
We
engineers.
had a couple ASRs way out farther in the long range plan, but
Yes, the 2080, the Central Iowa Waterworks 2080 agreement does have a stipulation in there that additional ASR wells cannot be constructed in the metro until we get more treatment capacity. We're reaching a point right now where we're injecting so much in the winter months that it's hard on the system to be able to do the maintenance we need to in the winter months. And so we really need, there's a formula in the 2080 agreement that states we need to get more treatment capacity in place before other agencies or members of Central Iowa Waterworks can continue to build more aquifer storage and recovery units.
So nothing short-term plan then that we need.
That's correct.
All right. Other questions? I'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thanks, Andrea. All right. On to item H, Request authorization to solicit bids for the 2025 Fluor Drive Water Treatment Plant Distribution Building Improvements Remodel Phase 2 and establish the date of the public hearing as the date of the December 2025 board meeting.
You might recall the distribution building, I'm gonna call it distribution / customer service, both departments housed in that building. Has undergone a series of improvement projects to address some structural deficiencies. We used to park vehicles up in the second floor garage, but the ramp was considered deteriorated. And so we have a project that has fortified or addressed the structure issues and deficiencies. And that work is nearing completion, the structural work on the outside. And so we are beginning the second stage, or will be beginning the second stage of the distribution and building improvements remodel phase. But it was awarded to Edge Commercial in February 2025. Oh, wait, the second. Phase 2 is the transformation of the interior. So is phase 1 was given to Edge Commercial, sorry.
No, phase 1 was just the structural repairs that we did with Woodruff. And then stage 2 was the remodel, which has 2 phases. So it's kind of confusing.
Oh, okay, that's what I
Yeah.
did. Okay.
So
sorry
phase
about
1 is Edge and they're finishing that.
I'm glad I can be here to clarify for the whole board. the audience. So we are looking at phase 2, which continues the inside, the interior, and updating that renovation of about 5,565 square feet of space. So this work includes new metal stud framing, drywall, ceilings, flooring, cabinetry, painting, everything that you would have on the interior, HVAC upgrades, and so forth. Phase 2 will provide a new conference and training room, offices, and space for our staff. The engineer's estimate for the construction of phase 2 is just slightly over $1 million, $1,022,875. That does include direct cost escalation, contingency, and general conditions and fees. So staff recommends the board authorize solicitation of bids for the 2025 Fluor Water Treatment Plant Distribution Building Improvements Remodel Phase 2 project and establish the date of the public hearing as the date of the December 2025 board meeting. I will note that this is a project that is a Des Moines Water Works retail project because it's not treatment related. So although it's within the plant, it is a Des Moines Water Works asset. It did not transfer to Central Iowa Water.
Right, could I have a motion to authorize staff to solicit bids for the 2025 Fluor Drive Water Treatment Plant Distribution Building Improvements Remodel Phase 2 project and establish the date of public hearing as the date of the December 2025 board meeting, direct staff to publish notice as provided by law.
So moved.
Second.
So when you said that, right, so you're saying at the end there that this is our capital improvement, not anything to do with
That's
Central
right.
Iowa
We
Water
will not be reimbursed, and this would be in our rates that we approved earlier as a capital component.
And so does that mean part of only, like, there's part of the building that remains with us, and part of the building that's transferred, is that?
This entire building remained with us.
Okay.
It did not transfer. It's one of the few in the plant area that did not.
Okay, it's a separate building, but within
That's
the
right.
plant footprint.
That's right.
All right. No one else has any questions or comments? We'll take a vote. All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, I. Request authorization to solicit bids for lead service line replacement phase 1, batch 1, and establish the date of the public hearing as the date of the December 2025 board meeting.
You might recall, last month, the board authorized execution of Amendment 3 for our lead service line replacement Phase 1, Batch 1, which includes construction management, public outreach, review of contractor submittals, and so forth. So it's centered around field work for these lead service line replacements. The lead service line project that we are talking about is in the Drake neighborhood. We have identified 399 properties that were eligible to be fully funded, meaning no cost to the customer, lead service line replacement. And that area or neighborhood was chosen based on state revolving fund requirements on how that money is spent. We looked at census tracts that qualify based on socioeconomic factors and criteria. So the eligible portion is between 17th and 28th Streets in the Drake neighborhood, north of Interstate 235 and south of University Avenue. We have mailed agreements to all of the eligible property owners, those 399, and asked that they return those agreements back to us. You might recall in our pilot project that we've done for the last couple of years, we really struggled getting those agreements back, but I am pleased to report that this project is running differently. We now, since this says 197 signed agreements, we've even gotten several more since then. A little over 200 or 60% of those agreements have been accounted for. So we're really pleased, yes, with that. And I think that that does demonstrate that we did learn something from the pilot project in terms of public outreach. Specifications and contract documents for the lead service line replacement Phase 1, Batch 1 project is nearing completion. The engineer's estimate for this project, for this 399 is $4.5 million. And so we are recommending that the board authorize staff to solicit bids for the lead service line replacement Phase 1, Batch 1 project and establish the date of public hearing as the date of the December 2025 board meeting. We are excited to get started on this project.
I have a motion to authorize staff to solicit bids for the lead service line replacement Phase 1, Batch 1 project and establish the date of the public hearing as the date of the December 2025 board meeting and direct staff to publish notice as provided by law.
So moved.
Second.
Will this be one bid to that one contractor is gonna win, or will it be broken up into multiple contractors?
I anticipate it will be one bid. Do you feel differently,
Concerned about
Lindsay?
Capacity.
I think it'll be one bid. Mike Zock is on the phone or online and he is kind of overseeing the project, but he's working on the bidding documents. Mike, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah. Was it just one contractor, I'm assuming?
Yes, that is what the bid package is being prepared for, is being bid as one bid package, one contractor.
Okay.
400, I mean, we did, what, 100 with one contractor and that didn't really take a lot.
CDM Smith stated that they felt at this size that we would even get potentially some smaller contractors potentially that could handle this size. So it might invite more bids. So that's an advantage, frankly, to sizing it this way. If we do larger contracts, we might run into an issue.
And I'll add just one other thing. One thing that we will be doing differently on this project is we will be allowing contractors to make their own taps. Whereas on typically all of our water main replacement projects, we require the contractor to hire Des Moines Waterworks to perform the taps. So there's going to be some potential for contractors to speed up their process if they're allowed to make their own taps. Before they're allowed to make their taps, they'll have to go through an approval process just to make sure that we're comfortable with them making their own taps. But we're hopeful that that'll kind of help free up our staff and then also allow the contractor to be efficient with making the replacements.
And there's an inspection process for those taps.
Correct.
Sorry, did you have a question?
No, I was just gonna thank Mike.
Are they bidding the 197 or the 399?
$399.
Okay, so there's plans to try to replace all of them by door knocking, looking up who owns the rental that a Drake student is likely occupying or someone else.
That's
Mixed
right.
use. Okay,
And they will be assisting with that public outreach.
okay.
So we
The
will-
hired contractor.
Yes, and CDM Smith, I believe.
Yeah, the goal was to get like a deaf work where they could start, you know, so
Yeah.
I think what you target 40% or something like that.
Got it.
And since they met that goal, now they'll try to get the rest.
Great, thank you.
We tried to make it clear in the contract documents that we're not guaranteeing the $399.
Yeah.
You know, we have 197 agreements, but we're not guaranteeing that the rest of those will agree. We'll also not guarantee that they will all even be led. You know, this 399 is what we think we need to replace, but we could dig them up and find that they're not lead. So that'll be kind of step one, is that the contractor will have to pothole to verify the service. And then if it is lead or galvanized requiring replacement, then we'll go ahead and replace it as long as we have the approval from the homeowner to do so.
Do I remember roughly correctly that there was 20,000 the estimate for lead service lines within Des Moines?
Yes, yes.
So this is like 1 to 2%.
It's a very small amount.
Yeah, but it's not nothing, I guess. It's a start. So I was just trying to get a sense of.
And we will be sending letters to customers in the coming weeks. You know, to customers that we believe have a lead line, a galvanized line, or unknown. And we are sending about 30,000, Jenny, letters. So that is also something that we are working on simultaneously as part of this project, the required notification to those customers in general.
And then kind of going back to the actual operation, how long does it take roughly to replace one of these once a contractor on site? Like, can they?
Less than half a day.
Okay, so it's less than a day interruption for most people.
Yeah, we'll be excited to report progress. I think it will realistically be 2026 before we start any of the replacements. You know, this public hearing will be in December. So it'll be a couple months, but we will be sure to keep you updated.
Okay, take a vote then. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to item J. Acceptance of the 2023 Des Moines Water Main Replacement Contract 3.
Thank you, Alec. At the January 2024 board meeting, the board awarded a contract to J&K Contracting in the amount of $2,440,000 for the 2023 Des Moines Water Main Replacement Contract 3 project. This project installed approximately 3,100 feet of 12-inch polyvinyl chloride or PVC water main along Bell Avenue and 2,604 feet of 12-inch and 78 feet of 8-inch ductile iron water main along Sunset Road. The work related to this contract has been completed to our satisfaction. It included 5 change orders totaling $47,427.20. Those change orders were to address traffic control signage, unsuitable soils, changes in water main material, and road plate rental. It also included quantity extensions for additional water main fittings, water service transfers unknown during the design, pavement restoration to meet city requirements and seeding. So with all of that in mind, the final contract price for this water main replacement contract 3 is $2,574,556.16, which is 5.5% more than the original contract amount due to those change orders and quantity extensions. Since the work has been performed to our satisfaction, we are recommending that the board accept this contract completed by J&K Contracting in the amount of $2,574,556.16.
Right, I'll seek a motion to accept the 2023 Des Moines Water Main Replacement Contract 3 project completed by J&K Contracting LLC in the amount of $2,574,556.16.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? Take a vote, then all in favor?
Aye.
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 And we'll move on to item K, acceptance of the 2024 Des Moines Water Main Replacement Contract 3.
Similar action item here, another acceptance. This also was awarded to J&K Contracting in the amount of $359,275. This was for a 2024 Water Main Replacement Contract 3 project. This scope, and there is a map that attaches to the materials, includes replacement of a little over 1,000 feet of 12-inch PVC pipe, 160 feet of 8-inch PVC, and 65 feet of 8-inch ductile iron pipe within the city of Des Moines. Again, all work for this contract has been completed to our satisfaction. We did have 2 change orders during construction. One change order was for $9,119 for traffic control and mobilization costs related to road closures. And change order number 2 was $2,887.50. And that was for repair of tracer wire. The final amount of 2024 Water Main Replacement Contract 3 is $370,019 after those quantity adjustments.
Seeking a motion to accept the 2024 Des Moines Water Main Replacement Contract 3 project completed by J&K Contracting LLC in the final amount of $370,019.
Second.
Really, no questions or comments? We will go to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And I believe that includes.
We tricked you.
uh,
We separated the agenda.
Yeah, oh,
the board
you even told
request.
me this ahead of time and I forgot. Okay, so, we will move on. So that was the Des Moines Waterworks specific decision agenda. And now we have the decision agenda that relates to Central Iowa Waterworks.
That's
Did I say that correctly?
That's
Okay. And that gets us to item A on our joint agenda, 2025 Fluor Drive Water Treatment Plant Flood Improvements Retaining Wall.
You might recall in August, the board actually, this is a public hearing.
Oh, it's fine, of course. All right, so we'll get started. This is public improvement, right?
Yes.
All right, I will then therefore open the public hearing for comments from the public concerning the project's form of contract plan specifications and estimated cost. If you would like to speak on this agenda item up at the podium, now is the time.
We have received no written or oral comments.
No, sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
Anybody online wish to speak? All right, and you said no comments, Amy? And we've received no written comments regarding this. Therefore, at this time, I will close the public hearing. So I will seek a motion to approve the project's form of contract plans and specifications and estimated costs.
So moved.
Second.
And now we move on to the analysis.
You have to
Or no,
take that vote. I think.
this one
Yeah.
we take, we should, yeah. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thanks, Andrea. Okay, now analysis of bids.
Sounds good.
Alright.
This, just as context, this project includes the replacement of the existing retaining wall near our warehouse or central stores area. When it floods, it gets wet, has seepage that we can see. And so this mitigates that and improves our flood protection. So the bids were received on October 6th, and the results are listed there. We received 5 bids, and they ranged from a low base bid of $793,000 to a high base bid of $1.32 million. And then there was also an alternate that related to paving. The engineer's estimate for the base bid was $923,386, and alternate one was $101,430 for a total engineer estimate of $1,021,816. Kramer and Associates has submitted the apparent lowest bid at $793,000. This firm has successfully completed multiple projects for us with similar scope, and also for our other agencies across Iowa. So staff recommends the board award the 2025 Fluor Water Treatment Plant Flood Improvements Retaining Wall Contract to Kramer and Associates for the base bid in the amount of $793,000. This was presented to the technical committee at their last meeting, so they are aware. And you might recall that we discussed very briefly at the prior meeting that, you know, there really is a shared benefit to this, because as we just mentioned, the distribution and customer service building are owned by Des Moines Water Works, and they are also in this footprint. And so we looked at an allocation of costs for this project between Central Iowa Water Works and Des Moines Water Works based on insured values of those facilities. And we are recommending, or the funding would be reimbursed by Central Iowa Water Works to the extent of 91% of costs, of project costs, and then 9% will be Des Moines Water Works responsibility. And this was agreeable and deemed reasonable by Central Iowa Water Works. So we are recommending that we award this contract to Kramer and Associates.
All right, can I have a motion to award the 2025 Floyd Drive Water Treatment Plant Flood Improvements Retaining Wall Contract to Kramer and Associates, Inc. in the amount of $793,000, and authorize the chairperson and CEO and general manager to execute the contract?
So moved.
Second. Amy, so this is saying, in theory, the retaining wall is the assets it's protecting 91% of the insured value of those assets that are owned by CIW.
That's right.
Any other questions or comments? I'll move to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Good, Andrea.
Very faint, right?
I said aye. If you guys didn't get that, can you hear me?
We can, it was a little, the first one was faint, but we got you. Right, that concludes our decision agenda today, but I made it. All right, we will move on to the informational items in our packet, beginning with board committee reports, starting with Finance and Audit Committee, which is me, which this in October, we filed the budget and we coming up.
Rates and cost of service.
Oh, great, yeah, so.
And we've talked
We've
about
had-
all of it here.
I was gonna say, we've covered just about everything on that, so I don't know if there's anything.
Nobody wants to talk
we
anymore
need-
about finance.
We need to talk about. So I'll keep it short and we'll move on to planning committee.
Planning committee did not meet in October.
And it's next week, is that?
That's correct.
It's rescheduled for next week?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll make that easy. The board membership reports, Central Iowa Waterworks Board.
I will provide an update since Diane is not here. The first the Central Iowa Water Works board meeting highlights are in your packet, and that first paragraph is something that we are celebrating because we had a big role in this, our team did. The Saylorville Water Treatment Plant West Feeder Main, which is part of the expansion project of the Saylorville Treatment Plant, was placed into service on September 23rd, so just about a month ago. This main is, of course, really important to that expansion. It provides additional capacity to the western suburbs in the metro. The plant's capacity, once this transmission, of course, is just one part of that expansion project. We have another transmission main project underway right now, and then the source water and treatment plant. But just as a reminder, the plant's capacity after all of these expansion or projects are done will double from 10 million gallons a day to 20 million gallons a day. At the September board meeting, the Central Iowa Water Works Board of Trustees awarded the next phase of that feeder main project, Hickman Road Feeder Main, to On Track Construction. So that is that second feeder main project that I just mentioned. And then Central Iowa Water Works is actively discussing the additional expansions underway or that are being designed and planned for the new West plant and the Grimes plant expansions. The West plant will increase the system's capacity by 12 million gallons per day, and the Grimes plant expansion will increase the capacity, regional capacity, by 3.3 million for a total of 15.3. Central Iowa Water Works has also been holding after action reviews after the water shortage plan. Many of the stakeholders were invited to participate in debriefing on what worked, what could we do better next time, what did we learn, what do we want to carry forward in future initiatives. And so those outcome reports and summaries are being drafted and will be shared back with all the stakeholders. If anybody is interested in attending a Central Iowa Water Works board meeting, which is tomorrow, they have moved the meeting, and it's now at that address that is shown there. It's the 3 Fountains Edgewater building, which just happens to be the Assured Partners building, our insurance broker, 4200 University Avenue. It's in the basement.
All right, and the Park Foundation.
Yes. So I think probably the most important takeaway from the utility standpoint of the Park Foundation update is just that the event season is coming to a close, with the exception for a few additional festivals or kind of non-concert engagements. And they are, the foundation is looking to kind of close out and understand how the season did in terms of their finances, but ultimately things are looking good. That the changes that Chris has made now as the executive director, having a full season under his belt of kind of managing and improving and working with new vendors or kind of changing protocol has paid off, and things are moving forward. The donor wall is being erected, and we're working on some other recognition opportunities that have been delayed in the past, and kind of fixing those. And so it's exciting to see the foundation get things back on track after having several years of challenges to really get their business model and their mission off of the ground. Is there anything in particular that I can provide additional information on?
I guess for Amy and John, with the incident that happened at the Harvest and Handmade, any insights you can share on potential liability?
The event had its own insurance that day, so that's positive. And I think we certainly want to work through any notification of liability, but I do not believe we are exposed.
Yeah, I've not heard that we've had any claim made against the waterworks, so we'll just have to wait and see if anybody would assert that. I'm not particularly concerned.
Yes, I figured that was gonna be a question, but, you know, there's been so much discussion of it. I didn't know if it was, if anybody had any outstanding questions, but I think that the important thing to, discern is that the foundation operates, separately from the utility. And so, you know, hopefully, as John said, there shouldn't be, you know, any pushback or fallback on the utility. I don't know if Pat is there or if anybody else has anything else that they want to offer from the most recent foundation meeting that I may have glossed over.
Pat's not here, Andrea, but don't think, unless there's any other questions, I don't think there's anything else, so thank you. Right. Let's move on to CEO and General Manager's comments.
Okay, I want to start out with something very exciting. We have published authors among our midst, although not in the room. Anybody who received this latest edition of the journal AWWA, the feature article was written by some familiar names, Melissa Walker, Ted Corrigan, and a couple of University of Iowa researchers that we have worked with over the last several years. This project is, the title of the feature is "In Tap We Distrust: Why Customers Choose Bottled Water." And we worked with the University of Iowa based on trends that we were seeing, and what we consider deceptive marketing practices from water kiosks and even providers of bottled water. And so I have provided a reprint of the article in case you're interested in reading it and don't get the journal. And I have a couple extras if anybody is interested. But like I mentioned, Melissa and Ted co-authored this article with Samantha Zulke and David Squirtney, both doctors, PhDs, to just explore why customers do seem to distrust tap water, and especially among non-white or diverse populations. We're primarily seeing this in immigrant or refugee populations where perhaps they did not find the water safe. And then when they came to this country, they bring that perception with them. And so we wanted to study that. And so this article really summarizes the results of the study. And I think through focus groups. And I think what's really important is that we got information on how we do outreach with those communities, and it has changed how we do that outreach. We translate much more. We do much more active outreach in terms of community events. Just last month, we hosted a water academy specifically for newcomers to the country, or at least the resources and advocates who help them while they are here. And so it has really given us some good information on how we can build trust in tap water, which is obviously something that we want. So I'd like to congratulate this research team on the study and their findings and being featured in the journal AWWA. Also forward-looking, we are hosting a legislative watershed day on November 6th. We are inviting legislators and partners up into the watershed near Boone to take a look at practices in the ground. When I have been speaking with legislators at various events, we talk about conservation practices and the importance of them. And many of them haven't seen those practices in action. So we thought it would be good to host as part of our legislative efforts, a conservation day or a watershed day. And so with the support of our legislative team advocacy strategies, we're partnering with agronomists from Polk County and also the Boone County Soil and Water Conservation District, who are going to give us a hands-on experience, share insights. We'll look at 3 or 4 different practices. There may be a hay rack involved, which I'm super excited about. And it's a new event for us, which I think is going to be real good to be able to talk with legislators right over those practices. So I'll be happy to report out.
Nice.
The last thing that I'd like to mention is the strategic plan update. We are nearing the end of 2025. It seems hard to believe that the year is winding down. And as we do, we report these results out to you quarterly. There is the graphic in your materials. We have completed 4 of our 11 strategic plan initiatives or KPIs. And most of the other ones we feel pretty good about that we will be able to meet by year end. We continue work and focus on those. One that we know that we will not complete is KPI 4, which is to replace 500 lead service lines by the end of the year, although we have made progress this year. And as evidenced by this agenda and some of this discussion we've had, we know we won't have 500 in the ground. So that one is unlikely or will not be met. But some of the others, KPI 8, where we're looking at the flume installations, 600. We have 450-ish so far. I haven't given up that Kyle will be able to drum up some more sales in our flume area. And so this is an update that I feel like overall we're doing pretty well toward their KPIs.
When do you kick these off for the next year?
Well, no, because this is the last year of our strategic
Oh,
plan.
okay.
And so in 2026, we will be taking the year to develop our next 5-year strategic plan. We will probably, my intent or hope is that we focus on metrics in that gap year while we establish our strategic plan. There's also a safety summary from Dylan in your materials. This one focused on the speed humps that have been installed in the park with the construction on Fleur, the construction at George Flagg and Fleur. The park has seen a big increase in traffic, and many believe that they are on a freeway and the traffic is very, very fast. The speed limit is 20. And you can see here by the graphic what that average speed is. When the speed humps were installed, the average speed was 26.6. It has decreased somewhat, but the speeds are still too fast through the park. So we continue to monitor, have security presence. And those speed humps are temporary, but they have at least helped some. Also in the packet is the public relations initiatives that Melissa and others have led. I'll let you read that. I will note that we are completing our William G. Stowe Water Academy this week. The participants graduate on Thursday. So it has been well received. It's been a good group. They've been very active, and we have had some very stellar presentations. There's a picture here of a game show, a very sophisticated game show format that was a lot of fun. So
At the November 6th event, will staff or our lobbyists be formally presenting our priorities for the legislative session?
we will definitely be talking about our legislative priorities. I don't think it'll be formal because of just the format,
Yeah.
but we will be hitting those in our conversation. Sure. And if anybody like to attend, you're invited.
I appreciate the update and all of this information. I love seeing us out and about in the community and having these conversations and doing that engagement. And I apologize again that I'm not there in the room with you all, but I know we're at the end, but I do have to peel off. Thank you all, and well, I'm sure I'll be seeing many of you soon.
Thanks, Andrea.
Thanks, Andrew.
I'd like to applaud Alec. This was a tough meeting, but you did it. We did it. Yep.
It's just training for next year, right?
Right. In a few short months.
Well, Andrea made an early exit, but I think we were really just about.
I'm done, yes.
Yeah. So, I don't think we have anything else, so take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Persevering.
Good job.